Hello and welcome to the Homeschool Educational Supplement, also known as Interesting Stuff, where we take a deeper look into topics that I think are fascinating, or are at least curiosities, and might even actually be practical, especially in today's case, because we're going to have a look at food waste. Or more correctly, perhaps it should be entitled How Not to Waste Food. Because it's not really a good idea to waste anything, really. We live on a planet with finite resources, and so we need to be aware of what we're doing, what we're using, and how we're taking care of the world around about us. And so we're going to take a look today at what happens as food travels on the journey from the field to the fork. Now, how many times have you bought something fresh just for it to end up in the bin a few days later? Or simply just finished a meal and emptied the leftovers into the refuse? Well, unfortunately, it happens to the best of us in the Western world. We have all these bad habits, impulse buying, improper planning, being forgetful. And all these things together mean that a large amount of what we use, what we buy, what we eat, the food basically, just goes to waste. But one of the biggest causes for concern in relation to this, or when we're thinking about food waste, is what happens between the produce growing on the field and the produce arriving at your kitchen table. This is because it's estimated that between 1/3 and 1/2 of all food produced never makes its way onto a plate. And this is because losses occur at all stages of the food supply chain, from production to consumption. What does this really mean? Well, let's take a look at 6 different areas and the problems that exist. First, there's initial quantity. Now, according to a UN report from 2011, approximately 4 billion tons of food is produced globally each year, but 1/3 of this ends up going straight to waste. That's incredible. Next, there's agriculture, where the first losses in food production occur due to infestations of pests and microorganisms, as well as agricultural machines that are unable to harvest an entire crop efficiently. Then, on top of that, sick or diseased livestock, and something called fish bycatch, which is what the fishing boats catch that they can't actually use, also lead to losses. Then there's post-harvest problems, where after the harvest, many items of produce can end up getting damaged or destroyed while in storage, or just simply being transported due to temperature and humidity changes, or to the presence of pests within the transportation process. And it's crazy because we're only halfway through the problems, and already I'm pretty amazed that anything actually gets anywhere. And it's also fascinating to think that these problems still occur despite all the advances in technology that we've seen recently. So anyway, next, there are processing issues, where edible food can end up going to waste in factories and processing plants. This can include the skin of ready peeled vegetables or the trimmings of meat, as well as products that have been contaminated or just simply don't conform to standards. And following this, there are further distribution problems. Retailers usually have strict standards for how produce must look. Items may not be put on the shelves simply because there's a little bit of bruising or if they're unusually shaped. Stores may also reject food deliveries if they already have a surplus stock of that product. And finally, there's consumption, where large portion sizes at home and in restaurants as well as misunderstanding best before labels, means that a significant amount of food grown is thrown away at the consumer end of the production food chain, which is why you should always have small portions. Dun dun dun. Simple things solve simple problems. But then we're all different. It's just me. I like the small portions. Moving along. So if you want a worldwide picture, then we can break food down into 7 different areas and look at the average global losses in each area. So if we take grains, then 28% of that product is lost. If we take roots, then 47% of that product gets lost. And by lost, of course, I mean that it just doesn't make it through the whole process from the farming at one end to the dinner table at the other. Then if we look at oils and beans, 26% of that gets lost or wasted. Then fruit and veg, 43% of that gets lost or wasted. With meat, it's 21%. With fish, it's 36%. And with dairy, it's 16%. So in every area, there is a problem, basically. And it's really sad to see that so much of the fish and the fruit and veg and the roots gets wasted. That's absolutely terrible. And we should be doing far better as a society. But then solving the problem begins with recognizing the problem. And that's what we're doing here. We begin by realizing that there's something that we need to do. But what is it actually that we need to do? Well, let's take a look at some food waste solutions. And here there are basically 5 things that we can do. Of course, there's more, but there's 5 that we can focus on. So let's check these out. Number 1 is better labeling. There is often confusion around as to what use by, sell by, and best before dates on packaging mean. So consumers often throw away food that was good to eat. Using spoils on dates rather than a sell by date could mean that markets can keep produce on the shelves for longer. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have trouble finding that information on a product. I don't know if it's on the side of the package or if it's part of the label or if it's on the lid at the top or the bottom. It would be good from my perspective if it was just in one place and easy to see. Second, we have food distribution. Overstocked stores can help to reduce waste by redistributing their surplus stock. They can send any extra food they don't need to food banks, community fridges, and similar schemes. There are even apps that can help. For example, Food Cowboy helps connect companies donating spare food with those who actually need it. And I've often seen some shops leave a box of products that are near to or past their sell-by date outside the shop when the shop closes, and people are free to come along and have a look through it and see if there's something that they can use. Next, there's improving policies. Significant amounts of fruit and vegetables are lost due to industry standards that focus on the appearance of the item rather than its quality. Improving policies surrounding which items are thrown out due to aesthetics would reduce unnecessary waste. And we all know it's really what's inside that counts. Still with me? Okay, here we go. Number 4, consumer choices. Now, these impact the food supply chain. And if we all take steps to reduce waste as individuals by selecting wonky veg, pick up this strange one, or using up our leftovers instead of throwing them away, then it will make a significant difference. And I know with my kids that I usually don't prepare food for myself. I prepare food for them, and then what they don't eat, I eat, because there's always usually something left over. And, that works for me. We all got to find a different way that works for ourselves, right? And finally, there's building infrastructure. Improving current food harvesting methods, storage and transport facilities and processing techniques will make a big difference to the amount of food that is lost at almost every stage of food production. So for sure, we want to have some kind of facility, maybe some kind of warehouse where we can freeze and store food. But I don't think we want to store it for a long period of time. We want to set up a system whereby everything is continually moving and being used. And so that's the industry side. But what about on a personal level? What can we do at home? Well, here's 5 quick tips that maybe you're aware of. Maybe you use these already, but if not, you can just introduce them straight away because you have the power to make choices in your life. So let's check these out. Number 1 is plan ahead. Make a shopping list and plan your meals for the week. This helps you to make sure that you only buy the ingredients that you will need. Number 2 is water your vegetables. You can keep vegetables in water to help them stay fresh and keep in your fridge for longer. Try this with stemmed veg such as broccoli, celery, and asparagus. Number 3 is freeze the leftovers. Accidentally make too much? Well, why not invest in some freezer-safe containers and put leftovers in the freezer to save for another time? Yep, and I know that my parents do that a lot, actually. Number 4 is get creative. When food has already started to get a bit past its best, check out recipes that you can still use the food in. Older bananas can be great for making banana bread when they're too mushy to eat on their own, and overripe avocados can still be used in guacamole. And I'll tell you what, banana bread is great. And number 5, start composting. Rather than throw away vegetable peels or leftovers, you can make your own nutrient-rich compost for the garden. But remember to clean out your little compost bin quite regularly. Otherwise, it will begin to smell. Trust me, I know about that. So there's obviously lots that we can all do. You know, a personal tip from me, I would say don't overbuy. Keep track of what you've bought and what you use. You can even do things like taking a shelfie, which is like a picture of the things that are in your fridge or your cupboard, to remind yourself what it is that you have and what it is that you might need. And also when you're in the shops, try to check out the dates on the products that you're buying. Make sure that you only buy what you can use before it expires. And, you know, shops have these little tricks where they always put the things that are going to expire soonest nearest the front and the other products nearest the back. So, you know, if you're careful about what you pick, you know, you can buy yourself some extra time there. So that's it, really. If we are to blend all of these ideas together, to get that blend food, right? Was that good? Okay. If you were to blend all of these ideas together, then I'm pretty sure that together we can find a way that we reduce waste and hopefully make everybody's lives a little bit easier. And we can even reduce the strain on production as well, and maybe even bring costs down. So it's kind of a win-win situation for everybody. And if you've got your own ideas or any other ideas, you can drop me a line and let me know. Anyway, that's it for interesting stuff for today. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you have a great day. I hope you're having a fantastic time. And don't forget, under the video, there's always comprehension questions to check your understanding. And if you want a different topic, let me know and I'll try to look into it for you. Ta-da! That's it. Have a good one and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.